Hello, everyone. How are we doing today? So today we're going to be going over the model of the heart. Now, just to show you the outline of how this video goes here, just playing it through real quick. So what we do is we look at the outside of the heart first. We'll be looking at the different parts, the different arteries and veins and so forth. And then I spin it around here. Again, this is a mimic being in the laboratory and working with this model. So feel free to stop and play this video as we go. I'm just going to be helping you label the different parts we come across here. Now, we're not going to label everything on this model. We're going to be talking about more things when we get to the blood vessels coming up later, but this is general overview. So I spin it around here, and then we open it up, and then we look inside, looking at all the valves, the different tendons, and the conducting networks as well. So then we look inside there, look up and down, we look inside the atria, and so forth. So little video here looking at the different valves and structures of the heart. So going back, we want to start at the beginning. So we'll start right here, and this is where I want to start, where we're labeling the different parts of the heart. So the first one here, we have the four main regions, and whenever you're looking at the heart, remember we want to start with these four main regions. So now there's a structure in here. This is called an auricle. That's just this layer of tissue upon this. So one of these numbers right here are labeled for the auricle. So like 2 and 51 here. So don't forget those. But I want to start out by naming the general regions first. So this is the ones you want to orient yourself with the heart with. And now naming right versus left is important. So remember, if this heart is sitting inside you, when you're looking at this image or this video, right is left and left is right. So over here, this side over here is all left. This side over here is all right. So I'm just writing a big R and L at the top. I'm not going to write them for each one, but if you are writing these answers on a practical, make sure you write right or left. So first here we have the atria or atrium. So atria is plural, atrium is singular here. Down here we have the ventricle. Remember, these are the left ventricles. Over here then is the right ventricle. And then here is the right atrium. So again, four main parts right there, and those are the important ones you want to make sure you have down right at the start. Now we can start naming the other arteries that come around here, other parts we find in here. So going back to drawing my lines now, we have two arteries right, well, these would technically be veins right here. We have one right here. We'll draw this one coming up to there. We have, I want to label this artery. I want to label this artery. Let's actually change the angles right here. Let's label this artery and then bring this artery a little further down. And then right here, we'll label this vein right there. Then there's also, so this would be a right, and then this one would be a left. And then we can, of course, label the, we'll label the parts of the aorta. Well, we can label the top of the aorta coming up next, but here, there's the ascending aorta there. This is the aortic arch, and then we have three parts coming off the aorta. Oh, and then we have this little ligament right here we can label as well, which that L is going to get in the way. Might have to erase that when we get to that one. All right, now let's fill in these parts right here. So first here, we have the pulmonary veins. Remember, these are pulmonary. They're going away from the heart, so they are veins. Even though they are red, they're not arteries. Now, when we spin the heart around, we're going to see two other pulmonary veins coming out, or coming in from the other side. Remember, these are returning from the lungs with oxygenated blood. Then this vein right here, or the artery right here, so this is the pulmonary trunk or pulmonary artery. I didn't mean to say vein right there. So pulmonary trunk or pulmonary vein, I'd accept too. Either mean this, both mean the same thing. This one right here is the ascending aorta. Now, if you are labeling something on the practical, make sure you say whether it's the ascending aorta, aortic arch, or then descending would be starting right here. So this is ascending aorta. Now we can label, oh, I didn't draw a line for this one either. It's a pretty important one right here. This one is the, I'll write it all out. I was just going to write SVC, but superior vena cava. Oops. Vena cava. Cava. Superior vena cava. Right there. There's an inferior one coming from the bottom side there as well. Now we can label so right here we have two arteries that come right out of the aorta. The other one comes kind of behind the pulmonary vein here out that side. So there's a right and left. So we have a left coronary artery. That then branches into, so this goes through a groove in here. It's hard to see on this monitor, called the coronary sulcus right here. Now this branches off over here underneath the auricle of the atrium. And then this one is called the circumflex artery. And then on the other side here, this one is the would be the right coronary artery. And then the one main important vein to be labeled on this, there's one coming down in the middle here. It's just called the great cardiac vein. And then if we label the last part up here, just the last little structure right here, this is called the ligamentum arteriosum. So ligamentum arteriosum. I know it might be hard to read. This is a little ligament that holds the pulmonary trunk to the aorta right there. All right, so I'm going to clear this now. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, you can. And then we're going to move on a little further in the video because I want to label the top pieces right here. Not the top pieces, the top arteries that are coming out. So we have three main arteries that are coming out here. Boom, boom, and boom. Now, these ones, we're going to talk about more when we get to the vessels, but this is just a nice representation of it now that we are here. The first one that comes out, so this is the arch. This is the ascending. And then this is the descending back here. So this, or the thoracic aorta. Now, the first branch that comes off besides the coronary arteries down here is the brachiocephalic trunk. This one then continues out that way. So brachiocephalic, name tells you where it goes to the arm and the head. The brachiocephalic trunk. The middle one here, so here the blood comes this way, could come this way, could come this way, or continue down this way. The middle one is then the left common carotid. So left, oops. Artery. And then the final one here, this final branch, is the left subclavian artery. I just wanted to highlight those where we could see them on this video right here. And now we will move on. So continue through the video. Now we want to, we're spinning around here. Here's where you can see there's the pulmonary veins coming into the atria. Here's where the other two are coming in on this side here. We don't have to worry about all the different branches of the pulmonic trunk quite yet, but that's, where everything is feeding into the atria that's returning from the body. And then down here, number 26 down there, that would be the inferior vena cava. So up here we're labeled the superior vena cava. And then spinning it back around, we're going to open it up, and now we're going to focus on the valves. Let's find the best part here to see. So we want to get both valves. This looks like This looks like a good stopping point right here to see most structure. So again, we are focused on the valves right now. So we have now one valve we can't see is up in here. I have the camera angle turn up in there later then, so I will highlight that then. But a few things, we have a valve there. We have a valve there. I also want to label this structure right here. That's the same as the structure here. We have a valve up here. Then we have these little muscles down here. It's highlighted in red right there. So we have those, and then we have these little grooves right here on the actual ventricle wall. You can also see them on the side right here. So I'm going to label those. We're going to label the conducting network separately then, so I can show it the nodes and stuff as we come down through here. I might just talk about them as we go through it. But these are the valves we can see right now. So I want to label these. We'll start on the right side. So we enter in the atria over here. So blood would be coming down through, this way. And then we enter through this valve here. The first valve we enter, again, is the tricuspid valve. So it would have 3 cusps on it. So 1, 2, 3. You could see them right there. And then the blood comes through, pumps out, and then goes out the pulmonary valve or pulmonic valve. You can write either. Pulmonary valve. This is also known as the semilunar valve. The aortic valve is also a semilunar valve as well. Both those are semilunar valves. Now we pump out, then we come back. Blood is returning from the lungs, oxygenated, coming back through right here. Now we need to pump through a valve from this atrium to this ventricle. This valve is the bicuspid valve. So 1, 2, cusp on it. So bicuspid, or also known as the mitral valve. I'd accept either answers right there. Now both these are connected by these little connective tissues right here, these little ligaments connecting to the valves. These are called the chordae tendineae. And I think it's EAE. Tendineae. Chordae tendineae. Then down here, a little muscle connects to that and actually helps pull the valve open and hold it closed. That's called the papillary muscle. And then finally, we have these little ridges and grooves in this. These are called the trabeculae carnea. I have these labeled right here. Trabeculae carnea. All right, so that's all we can label on this one right now. So let's now move on. Well, first I can turn the angle here, and then I'm not going to label it, but we can see that aortic valve then. If we spin around, and I look up, and then there, finally. Back there is where you can then see the aortic valve. Now I just want to go back to this part right here. So this is looking at the right atrium and then down through the right ventricle. So in this one here, there are a few important parts. We have this little oval window. This is an ancient relic that's found in our heart. It's called the fossa ovalis. I'm not going to label it, just want to talk about it briefly. You don't have to worry about all these little labels down in here right now. We talked about those. Those are just some of the veins coming in here. So the superior and inferior vena cava coming in, or the coronary sinus or great cardiac vein coming back in. Okay, now I want to talk about the conducting network of the heart to end this one right now. So here, to label a few things. Oh, that got really big. There we go. We have that one right there. We have another spot right there. So those little circles on this model are representing these little nodes. And then it jumps through here then starts coming down this septum. So I'll label this septum. It's an important name for this septum. And then it branches down through here. And then this white here, these are nerve fibers conducting down through. So right here, so it's called the atrioventricular bundle. And then when it branches, it's called something else. The bundle branches. And then when it goes up through here, it gets a name too. So I just want to go through and label this conducting network real fast. First part, we have to fire it. So we have the nodes. First node here is the sinoatrial node. I'm just going to write, why did my pen get so thick? So here, SA node. And then over here, this is the atrioventricular node, or AV node. These are the nodes that fire to start a heartbeat. First here, then the separation between the left and the right ventricles. That's called the interventricular septum. Ventricular septum. And then it becomes so the pulse is coming through here, travels up and around, comes down through here, through that septum, and then branches out to each ventricle so the ventricles can contract in unison. The first part here is the atrioventricular bundle. I'll just write AV bundle. And then it becomes bundle branches. And then finally, the last part here is called the subendocardial conducting network. Long word. Conducting network. So that's just the order it goes as it branches down through. All right, I think that is all we have to label on the heart. I'm just going to move the video around to show the different angles and things like that right now to end it today. But if you have any questions on the heart model, feel free to reach out and make sure you fill in your model images. With that, hope you all have a great day, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.